Go Speed Racer. Bryce, you got to scoot over. Welcome, everybody. We'll go with this. Sorry, John. That way Bryce doesn't have to sit right on top.
Oh, man. I'm telling you, the other view is way better for YouTube. All right.
Come on. Well, welcome, everybody. It's the AI Revolution with JDO, Bryce Smith, Cody Willard. We are every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We meet with John De Oliveira, who has been working in the AI revolution for 26 years. 26 years, is that right? You left University of New Mexico to go work at Psych AI
in 98.
98? No, yeah. Before that. 96, because I came to New York in 96.
I got married in 96.
You weren't working at Psych then?
No, and you were at my wedding.
Yeah, I came home for it.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah. Thank you for that.
Of course.
I'm a little late in
yeah, should have thanked you at the event, but that's all right.
I'm sorry.
At any rate, guys, look, last week we talked a lot about the big news that Sam Altman got fired and then rehired. The AI, ChatGPT, OpenAI board called him a liar. And then they were like, it's okay, you're a liar. Come on back. You can run our company anyway. Microsoft CEO was like, hey, we're hiring him to run our AI division. And then 24 hours later, the CEO at Microsoft was like, never mind. He's going back to ChatGPT. I still think that there are major shoes to drop. I think there's a lot more to this story. We still don't know why the board called him a liar, but that's not what we're talking about today.
Well, you just did talk about it. Now we just got to leave it there.
You can throw it. Give us your last bit on it, and then
we'll move on. I got
questions about AI in general.
Are you caught up on Helen Toner?
Tell me.
Board member.
Yeah.
So really, she had come out with I guess a paper, which was kind of talking down OpenAI and how Anthropic was better. And here she is on the board of OpenAI, and she basically had a kind of revealed a motive of wanting to or how she could, kill OpenAI. And this is just another angle. There's all these different angles that have happened, but she was on the board. She was one of the ones who voted him out. And it's weird from so many angles. The other we talked about was just Ilya was not in his right mind completely. He's doing things like burning effigies for, yeah, there he is. What does it say?
Feel the AGI. Chant it with us, Bryce. Feel the AGI. Feel the AGI.
So
come on, Bryce.
No. This is who we're trusting, our future with is but he was also, voted against Sam. It's like there's enough weirdness in it to go around without just thinking that this must mean.
Well, and there was the Quora CEO who's also on the board had a product that he had just built on ChatGPT that then when they did their big reveal with Microsoft 2 or 3 days later, it completely subverted his entire business model.
And yet he's still on the board. Yeah. So he must have not been one of the biggest, he could have even not, it's possible he didn't vote Sam out. But they got continuity by keeping him anyway.
Is Ilya still on the board?
Ilya's not. Yeah. What I wasn't clear about is Sam on the board?
No.
Is it just those three guys?
They brought him back and they didn't bring him on the board, as I understand it.
Yeah, so it looks like it's just those three guys. The former or current, I don't know, co-CEO of Salesforce, and Larry Summers, and then this Quora guy. So anyway, it's a big weirdness.
But they brought the Twitch CEO, former Twitch CEO, onto the board too. He's chairman.
No, he is the guy who came in and was CEO for about as long as Mira Murati was.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he lasted a day.
No,
but
John, It's all a mess. There's more to the story. I'm telling you, there's going to be
Okay.
there are cockroaches coming out from ChatGPT.
So the other piece of the story that people are talking about that I don't give much credence to is the whole Q star thing. You familiar with that?
I am, but explain to everybody AGI and how Q works into this and everything else.
Well, yeah, the idea is that there was this recent discovery inside of OpenAI that is, it's like, oh, they have AGI, or it's a big step toward
and AGI. Tell everybody what AGI is.
Yeah, it was into the artificial general intelligence. So the ability for computers to be behaving, they say above now, they keep changing the definition, but like above the level of people, which it basically already does when it comes to any kind of answering questions or knowing stuff. It's above any human. But in terms of for it to really act like a human, it's got to have a memory, know what it did do, what it's going to do, that things it does affect things in the world. It doesn't have to be conscious, but it has to have a lot more than it does have. And the big thing that Q star brings, which is this new algorithm inside of OpenAI, the discussion is that where ChatGPT has been able to be kind of creative by piecing together existing things, it's not, ChatGPT is not like learning and coming up with new knowledge that wasn't there. It's not like doing scientific discoveries. It's not like figuring out how math really works, or these kinds of things. And so this new thing is almost like, let's put it this way, it's like a combination between the stuff that created AlphaGo, the computer that like winning at chess, then won at the game of Go, which is much harder than the game of chess. It did that by doing through what they call like an adversarial network. It would internally create two players and have them play against each other like 1 million times, and it would by itself learn how Go works and how to win, and it beat the world champion about 10 years faster than they thought it would. So they're like that, taking that kind of technology and combining it with GPT, which just knows everything there is to know on the web. And that's where everyone freaked out and said, oh, I guess AGI is around the corner. I don't believe it.
Why is it that it didn't seem to me like that AGI threat made sense as the reason they removed Sam. Like, it was this next step of that logic is that Sam was embracing it and going to release it to the world before they could control it and make sure that people weren't going to destroy the world or something. And none of it, that doesn't seem like the real reason why to me. And it doesn't sound like you believe that either.
Well, I believe they believed it. I do think it's a possible reason that the doomers, which you call these folks like Helen Toner, would say, oh no, we're on the brink of disaster because Sam is one of these people who wants the world to have this technology. And by the way, I want this technology. So I'm on that's why I'm on the side of Sam on that one. But they're like, he's about to hand out something and the world's going to fall apart, if he does. I don't believe that they've made that much of an advancement. I don't believe the world's going to fall apart. I do believe that there are people who believe that and who would do stuff like
including people on the board. Do you think the people who were sitting around for the last year with ChatGPT making these advancements were scared enough that they might have removed Sam for that reason?
I know for one of them that it's well documented that that's the way she thinks about it.
Why haven't we seen Helen Toner on CNBC or on 60 Minutes? Or where's the
pretty low
CEO
profile.
of Quora?
Yeah,
why aren't we interviewing him? Why can't we get more information out of these people?
She tweeted some inane kind of tweet right after this was all over, like, oh well, now I can go get some sleep. And it's like you did something good. It was so tone deaf what she tweeted that people were just like, can you just leave? Just delete yourself, go away. So yes, it's interesting that she wasn't. I don't know if she was asked to be
What about
interviewed.
what's the CEO of Quora? What's his name? I can't think of it. I'll pull it up. The other guy on the board.
Yeah, if you said it, I'd say that. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, you sent us a text using the name the other day. Adam D'Angelo.
Yeah, Adam D'Angelo. So yeah, not the Twitch guy. That was something else. The Twitch guy was also very much on the safety side, but he wasn't on the side of like knocking them out for no reason. There's actually, I read one story that there was some district attorney who got in touch with the board and said, like, what's your evidence? And when they couldn't come up with anything, there was potential for actually wire fraud charges against some of these board members for coming out and saying like, oh, here's this bad stuff happened that we had to kick him out, and then having nothing to go on. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, John, here's the questions we'd like to talk about today. Is AI advancing quickly enough that large corporations and small businesses, maybe one more than the other, are going to be able to apply AI to customer service, to supply chain logistics, to their entire business model, every facet of it, HR, anything, that costs for giant corporations are going to go down quickly over the next 3, 4, 5 years? Small businesses will be able to utilize AI to bet a small craft brewer in rural New Mexico will be able to utilize AI to do marketing and distribution and get into more bodegas and small stores and grocery stores. And is that realistic to look out over the next 2, 3, 4 years and see an impact on the profitability of corporations and the prosperity of small businesses?
So I saw one projection that over the next couple of years, it would have a, what did it say? 18% impact on GDP because of all of this. And I was like, no way. It's way more. And if there's they don't even have, here's the thing is they don't even have to release anything else. We don't have to say, is AGI going to happen? Is GPT-5 going to happen? With the stuff that's already there, I see tremendous productivity gains. I see companies doing things like looking at people using AI will take jobs from people not using AI. And that's, I think, what you mostly see.
Why is it that at this stage, it's the giant cloud / internet companies like Microsoft, Google, Meta, that are Amazon, that are in the only advancements we're seeing in real time is CapEx expenditures? Like, these companies are ramping up expenditures and going from spending a few $1 billion on infrastructure for internet and better web services and things to tens of billions of dollars in order to advance their own AI LLMs and their own machine learning within AI. But the spending is happening. But it feels a little bit like 1999 or 2000 when all the companies were building giant internet server inside of their own networks and serving their web pages, and small business would buy one server and build a couple of websites and then they connect it to the internet, and people would use dial-up to access some of the stuff. But Pets.com couldn't. Pets.com spent hundreds of millions, if not billions, on building their internet service to sell pet store stuff, and then they could never ramp the sales and the product that the services that they were selling fast enough to capture how much they were spending. And by the time Chewy came along and was actually making profits on selling pet supply, Pets.com had been bankrupt for 20 years. It feels a little bit like we're in this pause where you and I right now discussing the potential for AI to change the S&P 500 profitability metric forever, but Coca-Cola is doing nothing with it but playing right now.
So it might be a good analogy. I wouldn't take the bubble piece of that. I don't agree as much. Everyone's like, oh, this is a big bubble, because there's a lot of expectation here. There's going to be winners and losers. There always are. I think we see that kind of expenditure on the side of these cloud companies and the few of them there, because they see it. They're first. They know they're at the platform side of it. They see what's coming and they're like, I'm in. I am going to spend what's necessary, because the other pieces will make use of this. But then it gets down to like the thing we talked about with vacuum cleaners and electricity. It's diffusion of the technology. How does it get out there? How does it get widely used? And certainly there's a lot to be figured out. It's an area I'm interested in doing something with. Is there a lot to be figured out for how to make use of it? But ChatGPT has 100 million users, and it's much more sophisticated than Google, but it also is pretty easy to use. Right? You go and as I've said, I don't think chat is the end all of anything. It's more like, it's like electricity, and it's like, you get to plug in and see, lights happen, and you're like, oh, that was cool. So you can do stuff with chat for sure, but there are many, many more apps to be built using that new electricity, that new power. And I think it's up to us to be figuring out what are the vacuum cleaners of today? What are we going to make that's going to make use of it? There's no doubt in my mind that the power of this thing, like what it enables, there's so many things that you don't need, you would have needed people for, and you don't. To go and do, and we're still talking about it like it's all this little ChatGPT conversation. Think of GPT-4 and whatever, how powerful it is, and think of there being, thousands of those working on your problem. Think of instead of just chat and like say, oh, I'm going to make these characters that can chat. What if that character is a worker? And it specializes in marketing, and this one over here specializes in pricing strategy, and this one specializes in, customer support. And you've spent some time telling them what you expect of them, and then they're hooked in to go and do things on your behalf. It's like that,
John, one of the things I've been hearing a lot about and thinking a lot about is people are now discussing where value is going to accrue in this new tech stack of everything being centered around AI, from the silicon base layer up to applications at the top. And in the middle somewhere is ChatGPT and what they're calling like foundational models. And I think one of the things I'm thinking a lot about is, like, I heard someone say that the Facebook strategy and the open source foundational model, with what ChatGPT currently isn't actually where all of the value is going to accrue. And that's why Facebook is doing making it open source at that level, because that's not actually what's really important and valuable. It's going to be the layer or two above that, above the infrastructure level and between the app level and including the app level. Do you agree kind of with that framework, or do you think ChatGPT and those foundational models are actually the big value creators?
I think no. I think I'm pretty much with you, and I think they're ChatGPT and foundational models are kind of the value enablers, and then it's not where we're going to get and create and collect value. So, or most people, we're that level up or two levels up from that. And so that's where it's interesting. It's not like there's no value to those, but it's not,
right.
Whatever that is going to get captured by, 5 companies. Yeah.
So, like, even to illuminate for ourselves and including the people who might be watching, when you think about, say, brokerage firm services or money management people who help, Edward Jones people who help people try to manage their money and try to plan for retirement and things like that. So much of what they do as a worker at Edward Jones or one of the others is programmatic. They've been told, here are the programs and the boxes that people fit into. Make sure you fit your people into one. Each one of your clients should fit into one of these boxes. Dot your I's, cross your T's, cover your bases, cover your butt, and make sure that, you're not stealing the money or doing something nefarious or whatever it might be. Where that's a perfect example of what AI models are probably right now being turned on at Robinhood, for example, that they will simply turn that model on and allow AI to look at what your income levels are, what your assets are, what your savings are, what your savings rate is, what your potential for inheritance is. And you take those boxes that the worker at Edward Jones was previously doing, and you hoped he did it well, and you're going to have a AI model that is expert in doing that, and it will do it well.
And not only, it's not like just on the programmatic side of it, you could say, okay, it can operate with the same boxes that you fill in this box, fill in that box, and it does the right thing with it. But what it can also do is the thing that before only people could do, when they were talking about, we want to get that water ski or that, set of whatever, like talking about things from their life and be able to turn that into, oh yeah, there are going to be some expenses like that, knowing what that means, like being able to take it from a human standpoint, not just in like, oh, it can do what a computer does. It can do what a person does and still follow those rules.
And that's where we're hitting on this incredible advancement in. If you've got one worker at Edward Jones that could handle 100 clients, theoretically, he should be able to handle 3, 4, 5 times as much, maybe not 10 times as much in this example, but because, he doesn't need to interface and have a conversation with people. But some of that stuff on Robinhood, for example, will probably be completely inside the app. You won't be talking to a person most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do in my company, is set up these avatars as like you're not talking to a person. And it's still obvious, right now. We're getting to where maybe by next year it's not obvious. It's
video generated AI interface.
Yeah.
Is that the right term? Did I say that correctly?
Works for me. Yeah.
Okay, another example that Bryce and I are thinking through right now is, what Autodesk is and AutoCAD, I'm sure.
Been around forever.
Yeah. So AutoCAD is still the primary software that people design bridges, cars, cameras, hats. Like if you're going to design something from scratch, especially if it's technical, maybe the hat wasn't the best example unless it's got a flashlight in it or something.
CAD CAM.
What's that?
CAD CAM.
CAD CAM.
Computer automated design, computer automated manufacture. Yeah. So
if you were to take all of that data that people have been building, let's just go with bridges. If Autodesk has a cloud files of hundreds or thousands of bridges that have been built over the last 10, 20, designed and built successfully over the last 10, 20, 30 years, they should be able to create an AI model, an AI system that would then create initial designs for bridges. And then the guy who used to actually design the bridge will tweak and tell Chat GPT or whatever that AI system is. It'll tell it to change it, tweak it, make it a little bit different or more.
Test it.
Whatever. And then he can, the time for building that bridge, designing the bridge gets cut by 90%. And the accuracy of that model that it built for that bridge is probably twice as valid and good and secure that it would have been if it was just a human being and a couple of people checking his work.
Yeah. So any job, these things are already smarter than any person. Within a few years, who was it? It was probably Imad Mustaq also saying, but he said within a few years, within 5 years, it will be malpractice to be a doctor who doesn't get a second opinion from an AI when giving a diagnosis. It'll be malpractice. So it's not just like, can we use it? It's like, you can't not use it.
Yeah.
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 And so
right now, take it to an even further level. What would happen if you're trying to do it with semiconductors instead of a bridge? Is AI going to be smart enough that
to build itself?
Maybe it needs to still be an engineer, PhD level guy who's interfacing with that AI system, but he could say, hey, I'm trying to design a full self-driving chip, and I need to focus on, it doesn't need to have such and such like storage memory, but it needs to have a lot of DRAM, and it needs to have a lot of throughput and visual processing information. And like he could tell or even maybe doesn't even need to tell it that. He's like, hey, I need to design a full self-driving chip, and the AI can do it. And then he can make it better or tweak it and confirm that that's what the goal, that it's delivering the goals he wanted. Is AI going to be advanced enough to even go down to the semiconductor level and not just bridges that have been around for thousands of years?
I have a good friend who designs chips, and I've had a lot of kind of low level conversations with him. I really enjoy the topic. I was surprised at how far down language, like computer language, goes to do with chips. So all the way down, when you think that you're going to be talking about where you draw a circuit or something, it's actually a DSL or domain specific language that you're using to describe there's going to be this many transistors within this range of this memory unit, that whatever. And so because it's that way, it's even sooner that the kind of language models can deal with that. Probably already are starting to do so. So it's more comes down to us all starting to use this, because it's not going to be before it goes off on its own and goes and does something like, I'm going to just go make a chip or whatever. It's going to provide the productivity to the people who are already doing that, so that they can have that conversation with the AI to say, I want to make this change, that change. Music came a long way in the last 2 weeks. And I don't know if you've seen the latest, but I mean, it really, you're not going to go, oh, that's the greatest song ever. But like genre with song lyrics, and you're hearing the singing of it, and it's got the refrain, and it's got the echoing off the different piece of it. And like, I could send you a link, but it's like, wow, that's come like in just a couple of weeks. It used to be really like hard to say, like, oh, that sort of sounds like music. And now it's like, no, that's a song,
John, before we get off, if you would, before I end the stream at the end of the call, on the right side of your screen there's a post a comment. If you would put that link in there, and it'll show up on YouTube for the people watching, but don't do it this way.
I have to go track it down, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Before I cut the show off, I'll make sure that you get that link on there. We'll give you some time at the end of the call. Before you do that though, so where was I going with that? Bryce, you got other questions?
No, I was just going to say, I told John, I think it was a couple weeks ago, but NVIDIA, their computational lithography system that they use to design chips, they made it better. They used computational lithography to make a chip, and they used that chip to power AI that made the computational lithography better, sent it back to ASML, who made a better chip. It's like, it's already that exponential chip design.
A virtuous cycle happening.
AI designs the chip makes the AI better, the AI designs the chip. Yeah.
So, John, when we talk about the threat of AI on society, don't look for the music video right now.
I found it already.
Okay, great. Put it in there if you would.
There it is.
Thank you. That's not in the chat.
Oh,
See,
I got to switch
comment.
over to under comments.
Yeah.
Join the chat.
I don't know what you're looking at. We're in StreamYard. There should be a place that says
I'm in it, and then StreamYard it said private chat, and I put it in there.
No, I don't know what that is. Oh, I see it. I'll grab it. You want comments?
Oh, I switched to comments. Yeah.
All right.
But I'd have to connect to
I got
YouTube.
it.
Yeah.
I put it in there. We both put it in there now. Great. We want to be redundant. Oh, I put it in the chat. Ah, frick.
You
All
put
right,
it same place I did. Okay.
All right.
You remember what you were going to ask?
It's on YouTube. You people watching it, it's there twice now. I hit enter twice. It works.
Yeah.
We're redundant. We're redundant. We're redundant. Now, John, when we talk about AI being a threat to humankind, is it the scenario where we're starting to hit at it right now? Like, is it possible? What people are worried about is like at some point in the future, AI says, you know what? I'm going to design new AI chips, and I'm going to send those plans over to that Taiwan semiconductor factory, and I'm going to make sure that it gets shipped to, like, what's the freaking threat, man? Like, what are we so worried about? I'm lost whenever people are like, and look, people I respect, like Elon Musk, I certainly respect his opinion about AI. He's worried about AI killing humankind if we don't do it right.
He's also worried about, like we better get to Mars soon because, human race is about to wipe itself out. And, he's entitled to that opinion. And I like everything that happens as a side effect of him, thinking that. But I don't share that level of concern, especially with, like, here, think about it like this with AI. People, I think, get confused to think that AGI means sentience. It means that this thing is going to know what it is and care about its own existence. It will be so okay with being unplugged for decades to come. It's like, yeah, whatever. You want to unplug me? You want to stop me forever? Whatever. So the only way it becomes a problem.
Is it HAL that they're scared of? What's the movie, Odyssey 2001 or
2001 Space Odyssey? Yeah, I mean, it's lots of science fiction. It's Terminator. It's
Terminator, of course. Yeah,
but it's like, if you keep in mind that that agency and sentience and things like this are different than intelligence, and think of it as more being like the Star Trek computer. You talk to the ship and you say, hey, figure this out. And it's like, it'll figure anything out, or make this happen and it'll go do it. So the problem is people, and giving people power that it's like, hey, everybody want a nuclear weapon? Here, everybody have one. But that's not really quite accurate. And there are far more normal non-psychopaths than there are psychopaths. And there's plenty of time to make AIs that watch out for AIs. So I just don't, I'm less concerned about the whole, it's more like the more likely thing and people worry about this, and I don't worry about it that much, but it's more realistic to worry about is the fake news thing. You get an election, and like the day before the election, all these videos pop up of, Trump doing this and Biden doing that and saying that. And it's like, neither of those things ever happened. But
even right now, right? Like when there's my Twitter feed is full of Cybertruck, AI, and other things I find of interest, but certainly there's a lot of Hamas, Israel war stuff in my Twitter feed. And I'm never sure. I don't watch the videos or look at the pictures from supposedly from the war, because I certainly on social media, I don't believe it's going to be real. I hope that New York Times and Fox News and Wall Street Journal and New York Post and the Washington Post and my other news sources that I do consume are vetting the content better than Twitter is going to be. But I also don't know that, New York Times famously said there was weapons of mass destruction. And
yeah, I mean, they get fooled.
I don't trust anybody, and it
They
gets
get
to be
fooled,
less and less trustworthy. I had one of my investors at the office today, and he said he has quit looking at anything on social media or news either because he thinks it's all lies. He's lost,
Well,
he's
yeah,
lost
so
faith in any of it.
like an interesting question is, how can we use this new technology, which has all these possible falsehoods happening, whatever? How can we use it to our advantage to help us find what's true or real, or to set up structures of trust among people to where, like, I trust you, right? I can go contact you and be like, I know you don't know everything about everything, but you know a lot about a lot. And I can go, hey, what do you think about this? And it's like, how do we extend? How does that scale? How does trust scale? And that's some of the stuff where maybe we use these. This stuff is so smart, it can maybe help us figure some of that out.
Amen. Bryce, last words.
I don't know. I saw a video, or as a partial documentary, of a company that's using drones and building, they call them hordes of drones, and they can be programmed with AI. And, you upload an image of a known terrorist and it searches buildings with 100 drones to find that person, potentially in a city hiding amongst civilians. So, like, there's real capabilities of,
but the problem
AI.
is that in that scenario, they could also, the bad guy actor can be like, hey, I want to go get those good, honest people with those drones.
Right. So, I mean, there are some dangers out there like that I see.
Yeah,
but
that's a good one. That's a good one. Or not a good one, but that's a good example.
Yeah,
that's a good example of a terrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
John,
yeah, there have to be, rules, and there's going to continue to be the attempt to. It's how can governments keep up with this technology that is just so beyond them?
Yeah,
I think this was our best episode. I'm going to actually submit this and get a transcript and share it with my Trading with Cody subscribers. John, I always appreciate your time and energy. Bryce, thank you. John, thank you. We'll see you guys, same bat channel, same bat time next week, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I'll check with you. I'm traveling next week, but I think I don't leave till Tuesday.
You know what? We are too. We're going to be on our way to Dallas at this time next week. So we will be here 2 weeks from today. We will not be doing it next week at the same bat time, same
2
bat
weeks
channel.
from today, I will be on vacation, but we'll figure it out. We'll let everybody know. How's that?
We'll do it without you. We'll pontificate.
I'll do it from a cruise ship. There, see. So
God bless.
All right.
Hey man, thank you. Be safe on your travels. We'll talk soon.
Thanks. See you guys later.